Do you remember the holidays you used to look forward to? The house full of noise, the smell of something cooking since morning, the front door opening and closing, coats piling up, voices overlapping. You knew exactly who was coming, when they were arriving, and what they were bringing. And even when it was chaotic, and it always was, there was something underneath all of it that felt right, felt like yours. And now you set the table and you're not sure how many plates to put out. Now you cook and wonder if anyone will stay long enough to eat. Now you wait for the door to open, and sometimes it doesn't. Or it opens late and closes early. Or it opens for a few hours that feel nothing like the holidays you remember. And somewhere in the middle of all that preparation and all that waiting, a quiet, uncomfortable question forms. What happened? If that question is familiar to you, this conversation is for you. Because family holidays after 60 are genuinely hard for many parents. Not in a way that gets talked about much, not in a way that has a name or a casserole delivered to your door, but hard in a way that you feel in the days leading up to the holiday and in the strange silence after everyone has gone. And today, we are going to talk about why, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. Part 1. Why the holidays feel so different now. Let's start here, because understanding what's changed is the first step toward making peace with it. The holidays haven't gotten worse. What's happened is more subtle than that. Everything around them has changed, and the holidays themselves haven't caught up. The first reason is that your expectations were formed in a different era of your family. You spent years, maybe decades, building a version of the holidays that worked. You knew who brought what, who sat where, who would be tired by 8 o'clock, who would stay until midnight. That version of the holidays was built on a family that lived close, that had fewer competing obligations, that was still, in some ways, organized around you. That family doesn't exist anymore. Your children are adults now. They have their own homes, their own schedules, their own children, their own versions of what the holidays should look like. And the gap between the holiday you remember and the holiday that actually happens, that gap is where most of the pain lives. The second reason is that the roles have shifted, but the rituals haven't. You are still the one organizing, still the one cooking, still the one holding the whole thing together, but you're no longer the center of gravity. Your children have their own centers of gravity now, their spouses, their children, their homes. You are one stop on a holiday schedule that has many stops. And that's not a rejection, that's just what adult children look like. But when the ritual still asks you to show up as the organizer and the host and the emotional heart of the whole gathering, while the people you're organizing it for can only give you a few hours, there's a mismatch. And that mismatch is exhausting in a way that's hard to explain to anyone who isn't living it. The third reason is that your adult children are genuinely, deeply tired. This is something that's easy to forget when you're looking at the holiday from the outside. They are working harder than any generation before them. They are raising children in a world that asks more of parents than it ever has. They are managing mortgages and careers and their own relationships and the invisible weight of 1,000 small responsibilities that never fully go away. When the holidays come, they don't always have the energy to show up the way you remember them showing up. And sometimes, and this is important, what they need most from a holiday is not to go somewhere and perform. What they need is to stop, to be quiet, to be with their own small family in their own home and just breathe. This is not about you, but it can feel like it's about you. And that feeling is where most of the hurt comes from. The fourth reason is the reality of multiple families. Your son or daughter has a spouse. That spouse has parents. Those parents also set the table and wait by the door. Every holiday season, your adult child and their partner are trying to divide something that cannot be divided equally: their time. They are navigating two sets of expectations, two sets of traditions, two sets of people who love them and want to see them. And no matter what they choose, someone feels shortchanged. This is not a problem you can solve. It is a reality you can only make peace with. The fifth reason is the accumulation of small disappointments that haven't been processed. Not big ruptures, not no contact. Just the slow drift that happens when conversations stay on the surface, when visits get shorter, when the holiday starts to feel like an obligation to everyone involved rather than a choice. That drift is real, and the holidays tend to shine a very bright light on it. Part 2. What you're feeling is real. Before we talk about what to do, I want to sit with what this actually feels like. Because holiday grief is a specific kind of grief, and it doesn't always get recognized as grief. It shows up as irritability in the weeks before. It shows up as over-preparation, cooking too much, buying too much, decorating too much, as if the right amount of effort could fill the space where people used to be. It shows up as a specific kind of exhaustion on the day itself, when you've been holding everything together and now everyone has gone and the kitchen is quiet and you're not quite sure what you feel. Some of it is loss, the loss of a version of your family that existed for years and then slowly changed, the loss of the noise, the chaos, the taken for grantedness of having everyone under one roof, the loss of a role, being needed, being the center, being the reason the whole thing happened. There's a particular kind of loss that happens on the day itself, in small moments that are hard to name. You spent 2 days making that dish, the one they've always loved, and they took a few bites and were distracted. You set up the living room exactly the way it always looked, and nobody seemed to notice. You were looking forward to one real conversation, and the visit passed in small talk and screens and a rush toward the door. None of those things are catastrophes, but they accumulate. And by the end of the day, you're not sure if what you're feeling is grief or loneliness or something else entirely. Some of it is loneliness. Even when people are there, you can feel lonely if the connection isn't what you hoped for, if the conversation stays shallow, if everyone is on their phone or watching the clock or somewhere else in their head, even while they're sitting at your table. That particular loneliness, the kind you feel in a room full of people you love, is one of the hardest kinds to explain. You can't say you were alone, but you didn't feel fully met either. And some of it, if you're honest, is fear. Fear that this is just what it's going to be from now on, that the holiday you remember is gone, and this quieter, smaller, more uncertain version is what's left, that the family is drifting in a direction you can't reverse, and the holidays are where you feel it most clearly. All of that is real, and all of it deserves to be acknowledged before we talk about anything else. You are not dramatic for feeling this. You are not asking for too much. You are someone who loves your family and is watching the shape of that love change. And that is genuinely hard. Part 3. What not to do. Now let's talk about the mistakes that are easy to make. Not because you're doing anything wrong on purpose, but because you're in pain. And pain makes us reach for things that feel like they'll help, but often don't. The first mistake is trying to recreate the past. Cooking everything they loved when they were 12, setting up the decorations exactly the way they've always been, replaying the same traditions in the same order, as if doing it right will summon back the version of the holiday you're mourning. This puts enormous pressure on everyone involved, especially your children, who can feel that weight and don't know how to carry it. The second mistake is using the holiday to address unfinished business. It's been months since you talked about that thing, and now everyone is together, and it feels like the right moment. It isn't. The holiday table is almost never the right place to have the conversation you've been putting off. It almost always makes things worse. Save it for a quiet Tuesday when nobody is traveling and nobody is exhausted and nobody has a long drive home. The third mistake is asking, "When are you coming?" before they've said anything. This one seems small, but it isn't. When you reach out in October and ask about Christmas plans before your adult child has said a word about it, what they hear is, "I'm already thinking about this. I'm already counting on you. And if you disappoint me, I'll know." That pressure is quiet, but it's real. And it makes the holiday feel like an obligation before it's even begun. The rule is simple. Don't ask before they tell you. Let them bring it up. Let them offer. When they do, receive it warmly. And when they don't, resist the urge to prompt. Your door is open. They know that. You don't have to say it every October. The fourth mistake is making their plans your problem. Your son calls and says they're going out to dinner with his wife's family on Christmas Eve, so they won't make it to your house until the next day. And something in you tightens. You'd planned around that evening. You'd been looking forward to it. Here's what not to do. Show the tightening. Don't make a comment about it. Don't sigh audibly. Don't say, "Oh, I see," in a tone that says you don't see at all. Because the moment your child senses that their plan has disappointed you, two things happen. First, they feel guilty, which is not a feeling that makes people want to come closer. And second, they file it away. Next time they have to make a choice, they'll remember that telling you the truth cost them something. And next time, they might just not tell you. Receive their plans with grace. "That sounds nice. We'll see you the next day then." That's it. That's the whole response. It costs you nothing. And it tells them that your house is a place where they can be honest without consequence. The fifth mistake is controlling the plan when they do come. You've been looking forward to this for weeks. They're finally here. And now they're saying they want to go out for dinner instead of eating what you've prepared. Or they want to leave by 8 instead of staying the night. Or they want to spend the afternoon doing something different from what you'd imagined. Let them. This is perhaps the most important thing in this entire conversation. When you release control over how the visit looks, when you stop having a script they're supposed to follow, you change what the visit means to them. It stops being something they have to perform. It starts being something they chose. And a visit that someone chose, even if it's shorter and different from what you imagined, is worth more than a visit that someone endured. The sixth mistake is analyzing it afterward. The holiday is over. Everyone has gone home, and now you're replaying it. Cataloging what went wrong, what was said, what wasn't said, how long they stayed, whether they seemed happy to be there. This analysis will not help you. It will only make the gap feel bigger. Let the holiday be what it was. Take the good parts with you. Let the rest go. Now, let's talk about what works. Step 1. Let go of the holiday film in your head. Every parent carries a film, a mental version of what the perfect holiday looks like. Who's there? What's on the table? How long it lasts? What it feels like? And every year, the real holiday is measured against that film. And the real holiday almost always falls short. The work here is not to lower your standards. It's to release the film entirely. Not, "I'll be happy if most of the people come," but genuinely, what is one good moment I can look for today? One real conversation, one laugh, 1 minute when you look around and feel something warm. That's not settling. That's actually the path to enjoying what's there, rather than mourning what isn't. Step 2. Redesign the ritual. If the old format isn't working, change the format. This takes courage, because the old format is what the holiday means to you. But the old format was built for a family that doesn't exist anymore. What could a different version look like? Maybe it's a holiday breakfast instead of dinner. Lower stakes, shorter, easier for everyone to manage. Maybe it's a holiday that doesn't happen on the actual day, the week before or after, when schedules are more flexible. Maybe it's something completely different that you do together, something that has no history attached to it, and therefore no expectations to disappoint. New rituals can become meaningful. They just need time, and they need to be built around what's actually possible, not around what used to be. Step 3. Respect that their time is genuinely limited. This requires a shift in how you think about the holidays. Your adult child has a spouse who also has parents. Those parents also love their child and want to see them. Every holiday season, your son or daughter is sitting down with their partner and figuring out something that has no clean solution. How do we honor both sides of our family when there isn't enough time for both? Whatever they decide, someone will feel less. That's not a choice they're making about who matters more. That's the math of two families with one set of children in the middle. When you accept this, really accept it, not just say it, something shifts. You stop experiencing their time with the other family as something taken from you. You start experiencing your time with them as something given, and that shift changes how you receive them when they arrive. They can feel the difference. Step 4. Make your home a place they want to come back to. This is the long game, and it's built on one principle. When they leave your house, how do they feel? If they feel guilty, they didn't stay long enough, didn't eat enough, didn't meet the unspoken expectations, they will dread coming next time. The dread accumulates. The visits get shorter, the calls get harder. If they feel light, they were welcomed as they are. Their choices were respected. Nothing was asked of them that they couldn't give. They will want to come back, not out of duty, out of genuine desire. Think about what this looks like in practice. They arrive later than you hoped. You say, "I'm so glad you're here." They want to spend the afternoon doing something different from what you'd planned. You say, "That sounds good. I'm just happy you're here." They mention they're going to her parents' house for New Year's. You say, "I hope you have a wonderful time." Every one of those responses does the same thing. It tells them, there is no wrong answer here. You are welcome exactly as you are, for exactly as long as you can stay. This house is not a place where you have to perform. It is a place where you can rest. That is a rare thing to offer, and your children know when they have it. So ask yourself honestly, when my children leave after a holiday, what do they carry with them? Is it warmth, or is it the quiet weight of having not been quite enough? You have more control over the answer to that question than you might think. And the answer you give them this year will shape whether they want to come back next year. Not out of obligation, but because your home is one of the places in their life where they feel genuinely free. Step 5. Find what the holiday can still mean for you. This is the step most people skip because it requires accepting that the holiday has changed and that you have to change with it. What do you love about the holidays that has nothing to do with who shows up? The cooking itself, not just the eating together. The music, the way light looks in December. The excuse to call someone you haven't spoken to in months. The particular quiet of a winter morning before anyone else is awake. These things are still available to you. They don't require a full house or a long visit or anyone staying past 8 o'clock. They are yours, independent of anyone else's schedule. Build those things into your holiday deliberately, not as consolation prizes, as the actual substance of the season. And when your children do come, however briefly, however differently from what you imagined, you will be someone who is already happy to see them, rather than someone who is waiting to be made happy by them. That is a completely different energy to walk into, and they will feel it. The holidays are hard because they hold so much. They hold all the versions of your family that have ever existed. The one with small children running down the stairs, the one with teenagers who were difficult and present, the one with young adults who still needed you in obvious ways. All of those versions live in the decorations and the recipes and the traditions. And now the family has moved into a new phase, a phase where your children love you but need you differently, where their presence is a gift they're choosing to give rather than a given, where the holiday can't be what it was, but can still be something real, something warm, something worth having. Here is what the parents who navigate this well have in common. They are not the ones who stopped caring. They care as much as anyone, but they've learned to care without gripping. They've learned to hope without demanding. They've learned to receive what comes, rather than cataloging what didn't. That sounds simpler than it is. It requires you to do something quietly courageous. Let go of the version of the holidays you loved and be genuinely open to the version that's possible now, not resigned to it, open to it. Because openness leaves room for something real to happen. And something real is always better than a performance of something ideal. It also requires honesty with yourself about what you're actually grieving, because sometimes what we're mourning isn't the holiday itself, it's the role we played in it, being needed, being the center, being the person without whom the whole thing wouldn't have happened. That role has changed, and that loss is real and worth grieving, and not the same thing as your family loving you less. They still love you. They are just loving you from inside their own full, complicated, exhausting lives. And your job, if you want to stay close to them, is to make it as easy as possible for that love to find its way to you. Not by demanding it arrive in a particular form, but by being the kind of presence that makes them want to reach out, want to visit, want to call. The parents who navigate this well are not the ones who let go of caring. They care deeply, but they've learned to hold the holiday with open hands rather than closed fists, to be glad for what comes instead of grief-stricken by what doesn't, to make their home a place of welcome rather than a place of expectation. That shift is not small. It takes practice. It takes some grief first, honestly, because you have to mourn the old version before you can make peace with the new one. But on the other side of that grief, there is something quieter and more sustainable. A holiday that is real rather than performed, connection that is chosen rather than obligated. A relationship with your adult children that has room to breathe. We covered a lot today. We talked about why the holidays feel so different now. The 5 shifts that change everything when children become adults with their own families and their own lives. We talked about what you might be feeling and why that grief is real and worth acknowledging. We talked about the 6 mistakes that are easy to make when you're hurting, including asking about plans before they've offered, making their choices your problem, and trying to hold on to a version of the holiday that no longer fits. And we talked about 5 things that actually work: releasing the film in your head, redesigning the ritual, respecting that their time is genuinely limited, making your home a place they want to return to, and finding what the season can still mean for you, independent of anyone else's schedule. The holidays don't have to be what they were. They can still be something. This has been Family Bonds After 60. Take care of yourself. And remember, the best thing you can give your children this holiday season isn't the perfect meal or the perfect day. It's a home they feel free to come back to.